And this is Pamela with our first item on display, an elegant slender line 9-inch pipe with rounded gold briar-lined bowl, chased gold stem and vulcanite mouthpiece. Just
Hello and welcome back to the Tainted Tavern and another of my over-the-counter pipe tobacco reviews, my penultimate over-the-counter pipe tobacco reviews, and that is St. Bruno Ready Rubbed with the gory, teethy picture there on the packet. Wonderful, these gory images. They adorn our tobacco pouches with these days. Now, as I say, this is my penultimate review in the over-the-counter tobacco reviews, because over here in the UK, this is, I've done Condo, I've done Clan, I've done Gold Block, I've done Erinmore, and now today with this I would have done St. Bruno, so that only leaves oh my gosh, what's it called? Special Virginia, which used to be known as Mellow Virginia. And because in order to qualify for OTC, I think it's only fair that these are tobaccos that are readily available over the supermarket shelves over here in the UK as of 2025. And in fact, including Erinmore, which I have done, is a little bit unfair because it's far more difficult to get over the counter. But I sort of bent the rules there because I was always able to get Erinmore. So that's it. So let's get on to the St. Bruno. Now, St. Bruno previously used to be made by Ogden's of Liverpool, the same as Gold Block, which we reviewed earlier in the series of over-the-counter tobaccos. But these days it's made by Mac Baren. Mac Baren are an high-quality tobacconist in themselves, and they do seem to have stuck with the original St. Bruno expression. Now, the actual St. Bruno blend was launched in 1896 by Thomas Ogdens himself, the founder of Ogdens of Liverpool. And by the time when he launched the St. Bruno brand, his tobacco company, his famous tobacco company, Ogdens of Liverpool, had only been in existence for 6 years, as it was started up in 1890. And you'll get more history of Ogdens tobacco if you look at the Gold Block tobacco review on this channel. Now, when St. Bruno reached its centenary in 1996, it had a market share of 23% in the United Kingdom, so that's it was a pretty big selling tobacco. St. Bruno, like Condo, had a very successful television advertising campaign for the tobacco, and although when most people look back and think of St. Bruno, they think of the iconic St. Bruno dog, which adorns the pouches and tins, although the St. Bruno dog wasn't used originally when St. Bruno, the blend, was first launched. Now, as I said, the most famous sequence of television commercials, mostly from the 1970s and 1980s, and perhaps into the 90s, related to St. Bruno tobacco, was with the St. Bernard dog. But prior to that, during the swinging 60s and much of the sensational 70s, Ogden's television adverts for St. Bruno tried to market it as a trendy tobacco. It was known as the cool man's tobacco.
Bruno does something more. Some Bruno, flake or rough.
Then, of course, as I say, much later, there were the famous sequence of adverts with the St. Bruno dog. The concept for these adverts were always the same. Our poor St. Bruno man would find himself out in some remote area. He'd go to fill his beloved pipe, only to find out, oh my gosh, my St. Bruno's gone, and then this cue orchestral music, sweet orchestral orchestral music, and the St. Bruno dog would become bounding across the snow or swimming through the lakes, but he'd bring the St. Bruno tobacco to the St. Bruno man. Now, St. Bruno. Now, St. Bruno is a classic English Lakelandy style tobacco, much similar to Condo, but the Lakeland topping is nowhere near as strong as what you get with Condo. So although I've heard a lot of people, pipe smokers over the years, complain that you get a soapy aftertaste with Condo, which I don't agree with them. I don't think it's soap. I've never heard anyone saying a similar thing about St. Bruno. So anyway, let's retire to the bothy of broken dreams and spark up a bowl of St. Bruno, the patron saint of pipe smokers.
I must say, it's quite incredible the emotion men feel about this St. Bruno thing. I mean, get them within a mile of the silly stuff and they start raving about its glorious flavor. Oops. And how it takes 10 days to produce an ounce of that precious, slow-burning blend. Quite frankly, I think they're madly hyperbolical. Thank you. But show me a man with St. Bruno in his pipe, and I'll show him my unwavering credulity. Believe that, and you believe anything.
Okay, now I'm accompanying this review of St. Bruno out here in the bothy of broken dreams. Before I come out, I popped to the bar of the tavern and I got myself a nice pint of best bitter, 4% ABV, and it's pretty good bitter too. You know, it's an old style best bitter, you can remember from years gone by. So basically, it's 2025. I'm sat outside in the bothy of broken dreams. I'm drinking a best bitter and I'm smoking St. Bruno. It could be 1975 again. It's a co-op. It's brewed for the co-op by British brewers. Best bitter is decent. So that's not why we're here though, are we? Let's kick off with the St. Bruno. Now, St. Bruno is ready rub tobacco. Say it's now produced by Mac Barron, though on the packet it's still billed as being Ogden's of Liverpool, which I suppose if you want to get technical about it is kind of false. It's not true, but I can see that Mac Barron are trying to keep with tradition, so the Ogden's of Liverpool trademark is still on the pouch. Let's light it up in this little falcon here and see what we get. But first of all, I'll have a shipping, you best better. It's a very nice hoppy beer. Old school, no nonsense beer. Okay, now there's the charring light. So let's spark it up tidy. I think out of the pouch, St. Bruno maybe a touch too moist. I may have packed this a little tightly for comfort, but it was drawing okay, so let's just give it the proper light.
As I watch the sun descending and the birds fly home to rest, in the hush when day is ending, that's the hour when I feel blessed. Smoking my pipe.
As I say, it is pretty traditional British style tobacco in the Lakeland style, though the Lakeland style of this is very subdued. It's dialed right back. You're not getting that strong Lakelandy topping style, although it's there faintly.
Smoking my pipe like a whisper through the cornfield comes a gentle evening breeze.
The tobacco is mainly constructed of Virginia and Kentucky leaves.
At the doorway of my cottage I recall old memories. Smoking my pipe.
In terms of nicotine, it's moderate.
Smoking my pipe. Those far off places beyond the blue.
It is full flavored. The taste is quite lovely.
Familiar faces that once I knew. I recall those days behind me and the happiness.
St. Bruno is the British tobacco, which always caused debates over whether it was better than Condo, or vice versa, which was the better. And in fact, I got involved with a debate like that many years. In fact, I started a poll on the UK Pipe Tobacco Club because at that time I was obsessed with Condo. Although I did smoke St. Bruno, I've always smoked St. Bruno on and off over the years. And I started a poll and St. Bruno won. But it's such a useless exercise to do that because they're both very good tobaccos, but they're different. Yes, they are both of the Lakeland style, though, you know, where they take their styles is totally different.
Yes, they meant every sundown you will find me with a heart that is content, smoking my pipe, smoking my pipe.
So it's very slow burning, packed with flavour. It's creamy to some extent.
You remember the first time we met? You were the only one in that railway carriage who didn't like me smoking my dear old pipe. Compromise, I opened the window. And what a lovely surprise you gave me on our wedding day. A tobacco jar. How I remember each smile and tear.
I can't really pick out any flavour profiles other than to say that it's very full flavoured, rich, creamy. Goes well with a beer too. Cheers, Yakuta.
As life's December is drawing near, time's old ever-moving finger closes one more day, but yet, while such thoughts as mine can linger, I'll have nothing to regret. Smoking my pipe.
I mean, this could quite easily be an all-day smoke if you're a fan of British-style tobaccos or English-style tobaccos. Only I hesitate saying English-style because English-style then sums up latakias and that. This hasn't got latakia, but it's when I use the term British-style tobacco, I don't mean necessarily British made, British blended. I mean the type of tobaccos that graced the high streets in years gone by. Your Condos, your Mel Virginias, your St. Bruno, your Gold Block, you know, all the different types of different tobaccos there, widely different tobaccos, and yet they're all in that British style. Even Clan, which started out on the continent, deserves the accolade of British style because of how iconic it came to the British tobacco market.
Smoking my pipe. Smoking my pipe.
So even although I pipe this pipe slightly too tight and it may have been a little too moist, I'm having no trouble keeping it alight now that it started going, so we're getting down well into the bowl now and the flavours are becoming more pronounced. Still predominantly that creamy mouthfeel.
As I watch the sun descending and the birds fly home to rest, in the hush when day is ending, that's the hour when I feel blessed. Smoking my pipe. Smoking my pipe. Like a whisper through the cornfield comes a gentle evening breeze. At the doorway of my cottage I recall all memories. Smoking my pipe.
You know, when you smoke a full Virginia blend, you get that grassy kind of straw taste. I'm getting some of that with this, but it's very small amount. The Kentucky tobacco is really making this influence felt, and that's giving this smoke a thickness, a substance. And the predominant sensation I'm getting off this is it tastes like a very creamy tobacco in the mouth.
smoking my pipe. Those far-off places beyond the blue, familiar.
Does St. Bruno deserve the award for the best OTC, over-the-counter tobacco over here in the UK? Is it better than Condor? See, there we go. Waste of time even making that statement. But I will say that out of all the OTCs I've done so far, Condor and St. Bruno, close to the top, they'd probably level peg it, because I can imagine St. Bruno offering a nice change of pace from Condor, because Condor is far more in that Lakeland style, and it punches you with the Lakeland style. It absolutely wallops you with that floral essence, whereas St. Bruno gently caresses you with the Lakeland style. So they're different tobaccos, both equally good, both equally tasty, and both can serve their purpose. But then again, contrary as I am, I'd also put Clan up there as well alongside them. That is the current version of Clan. It's not in any way Lakeland style. It's an aromatic, and it's an aromatic that's in class of its own. It's its own style. Nothing else is quite like Clan. So for another change of pace, Clan would be there too. In fact, out of all of the OTC over-the-counter tobaccos I've done, the one that I would least probably go back to would be the Gold Block. It wasn't bad, but it was too plain, too bland for my tastes.
Faces that once I knew, I recall those days behind me and the
Well, here comes contradiction again, because probably on a warm summer's evening, something like the Gold Block or even the Erinmo would be nice to sit outside on a warm night and smoke, when you wanted something easy going and mellow. So pipe smoking is a world of contradictions. Your tastes change from time to time, and the situations you're in can dictate what tobacco you like. Personally, my favourite tobaccos, probably that I tend to smoke more than any other, are heavy Latakia English blends, but I also do enjoy the Lakeland style, which is, I suppose, St. Bruno fits into that. But from time to time I enjoy aromatics. Just lately I've been smoking Cornell and Deal's Autumn Evening, which is a beautiful peachy type topped aromatic tobacco. It's lovely, and I also very, 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 very fond of another Cornell and Deal, which I discovered lately, was Bayou Night, which is a Perique heavy blend. That's a powerhouse.
happiness they meant. Every sundown you will find me with a heart that is content, smoking my pipe.
Yeah, St. Bruno.
Smoking my pipe.
Patron saint of pipe tobacco. Very damn good, and McParren, the current owners, are doing a good job in keeping it consistent with the St. Bruno I remembered from years gone by.
St. Bruno rough cut, ready wrapped for the pipe, unmistakably different. A pipe does something for a man. St. Bruno does something more. Rough cut. The cool man, St. Bruno.
So, that's it for St. Bruno, patron saint of pipe tobaccos. Cheers, Yaki Da, and please come back again.